All right, thank you so much. The program still this morning on ITV on independent television. And now, the supplementary election, the case of the supplementary election for Saturday became very, very dramatic, particularly in Adamawa State. And of course, we saw and read all that happened, how a certain reg had to, announce or declare a result, and also how, Binani of the All Progressives Congress had to go to court to file that she remains the winner of that election. And just as Nigerians were trying to understand what was really going on, we saw a series of news. There was one that has to do with the national chairman of INEC having meeting with all the 36 regs, and they're also writing the IG and saying that the reg that declared that result should be invited. And just as Nigerians, we are also trying to understand it all one more time. Later on, we heard that the result was declared, whereby Fintiri now won the election. Now, for Saturday's supplementary election, Fintiri also won that supplementary election with 9,337 votes to beat his closest rival, Senator Aishatu Binani Dahiru of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, who scored a total of 6,513 votes. That was on Saturday. Now, if you put all that record together, we have the total results, whereby eventually, finally, Fintiri pulled a total number of 430,861 votes to defeat Binani, who got 398,738 votes. Now, I think with all this, with the result now, it probably puts the whole drama series in Adamawa State to rest. Well, we are so privileged to have Dr. Barrister Patrick Awosagi here this morning to further give light to all that has been all that happened in Adamawa State. Star, you're welcome to this program this morning on IT.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay. All right, so just like what we said, that perhaps with the result now, the declaration of Fintiri as a winner, that's probably puts a rest to the political imbroglio, you may want to say, in Adamawa State.
Well, that's not absolutely the position, because she still have the right to go back to court to seek redressing. And the questions we'll be asking ourselves will be that how did they arrive at the recent development? Why are things done so much in a hurry? You have made, the INEC chairman have called on the IG of police to do the needful by inviting the reg that did the announcement. But I haven't said that. Has he been invited? Has he given his reasons? We didn't hear anything about that. And now we are coming back again with the issues of, supplementary election, and even saying that, oh, she didn't win ab initio. It was wrongly announced by the wrong person, which I subscribe to. But again, do figures change? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. At least he's well enlightened, he's well schooled. Even if he is not responsible, he's not the resident, electoral officer as he stood. Then it's not. I believe he's well savvy. He has the knowledge. He knows what figures are. And then if he had made an announcement, why this sudden dramatic twist is what we should be asking ourselves. And these are the things we have always talked about. Now, again, this woman hoping that, all right, I'm coming in as governor. Well, the sitting governor, they say, well, it was not, it's not high anymore, because the man that made the announcement, the reg, was not responsible for that position, which I agree. But again, many issues are coming up. Now, you had the supplementary election, okay, as it is today now. Ahmadu Fintiri, the PDP gubernatorial candidate and the incumbent governor have been declared a winner. So I think she should hope for is to go back to court and do what she ought to do. But again, the courts don't work without records, and we all want to check. Now, the record they have shown the world now is exactly what is going to court. But except they're able to check through the process. I think forensic and checks should be looked into critically. I think that's the area. But again, it's high humongous. The money to run all of that is what one should also consider. So I really, you can see the unrest in the States. It shows it did not really reflect the yearnings and desires of the people. So we can't wish that away. It's obvious that the people are not happy with the way it is, or with what has turned out to be the order of the day now in Adamawa State.
Okay. Now, if you say that Aishatu Binani, the All Progressives Congress candidate at the election, should go to court, now, which case is she going to take to court now? Remember, the first case was declined, the one that has to do with as far as she was concerned, that INEC actually announced her as the winner. Is it a case that she should continue to pursue, or the new situation now that Ahmadu Fintiri has been declared the winner? Which case is she
now, everything should go to court, because the whole process is to her is fraudulent, and a whole lot of things have happened from that very beginning down to this point. Okay, even the supplementary elections, she have right to say no. If I had scored this high vote ab initio, why am I not scoring this? What happened? What really led to it? Are there some areas where people were unable to vote? Are there some bullying and threats within the polling booths wherever they voted? So these are issues. You don't know what she has. So what I'm trying, and she's not the person alone. There are people that are interested in her candidacy, and they are out there to also express themselves. So they have a whole lot of evidence to also tender. It's not just from whether she had been declared ab initio and now someone else is. No, that's not just all there is. Look at all the electoral process. Let's look at it from the very beginning to this very point wherein the Fintiri man had been declared. I think she still have right to go to court.
Okay, now, if you say that Aisha Binani should go to court by saying that she does not accept the supplementary election, would that not amount to double standards? Going by the fact that ab initio, she accepted that result.
She couldn't have wished away if she accepted the results.
Yeah, of the supplementary election. Because it favored her at that time. So if she now goes to court, going by what you said now, that she should...
Supplementary or the substantive election?
The supplementary election.
Okay.
She accepted the supplementary election and also accepted the result, the general result now that came from that election and all that, because she was declared the winner.
Yes.
Now, going by what you said now, that she should, as well as, challenge the supplementary election.
Yes.
So would that not now amount to double standard by her?
I disagree, because maybe at the time she didn't get some facts. It's just like new facts will come up. You're like, it's okay, I agree, and later you discover something. People obviously will be talking to her. Even for the checks. I think it's a good thing she goes to court.
As a lawyer, what's your professional advice?
It's fine to go to court. That's it. Whether you won before, or rather they said you didn't win, or you thought you won. It was somebody that gave that result, or that announced the results. They made the announcement. And that was how you heard that you won. And now again, somebody could say, look, there are some other things that happened. That's what's leading to all of this. Why would the rec ab initio be making an announcement? That's what you should be asking yourself. These are questions court should be asking. You are very enlightened. Why will I just jump up to the studio and sit on your seat and start making an announcement or anchoring a program? Why will I do that? Maybe I needed to quickly make a statement before, there was a plan to do something funny. It's happened before, so we know all of these things. So probably the man said, let me quickly make this announcement so that they will not change. We have the appropriate record, and before something, I don't know, I'm just trying to speculate. But again, if that had happened, she could go to court. And you don't know the man in question, what he's communicating, relating to her. You don't know what our team, may not directly, this is what I saw. It's all eyewitness issue. We have people everywhere. So these are some of the reasons she should be looking at, and that's what her legal team, not just because lawyers want their money, like people will always say, lawyer want to go to court so that they will be paid. That's not true. I do hear us talking about deepening democracy, this is what we're talking about. If you don't go to court, we have seen how court have helped people in the likes of Adam Soshomole and some, many other, even Peter Obi and others too. So she should go to court and seek redress in court. And at the end, who knows what could come out from it.
Okay. Now, the governor-elect, Ahmadu Fintiri, has made, press statements in which he talked about largely on consolidating on where he's coming from, some of the landmarks achievement that he has made and all that. And he also said he's opening his hands to accept and allow other politicians to come into his government and all that. Now, would you want to say that this is probably one of those political talks, that politicians say when they win elections?
Well, Winston Churchill have said it all years back. He said politicians don't believe what they say. They wonder why you believe them. I have never recovered from that statement. For a great man as Winston Churchill would say, so you mean all you said to the British folks way back, you really didn't believe them, you know? And then, who else will be a politician that will just talk? He said they don't believe what they are saying. It's just a way to talk. Just get talking. Obviously, you know that's not going to work. And again, even if that is it, we are not looking for a collaboration. We are looking for good governance. You know, we talk about the benefits of democratic rule. What have we really benefited as a nation, as a people? Because I tried to do a rundown for one of my folks yesterday, down from independence down to the present-day administration, talking about the coup, the tats, and all whatnot. It still looks like we are still in those military era. It's just that we have some people wearing civilian clothes. It's still the same pattern. That's the point. So democratic rule, to a great extent, have not really made any impact on the people because the people have been unable to express themselves. So they shut you up and then they shut you down and then you talk about, is a democracy, come again next 4 years. For goodness sake, if you take 4 years now, another 4 years, that's some 8 years. Before you know it, 20 years has come and you'll be too old to even contest. I was saddened when I had a man like Donald Duke that wanted to be president at some point in time. We saw Tinapa, we saw Gudu Cattle Ranch, and we saw those noble things he did for the Calabar people and for Nigeria. And he said, I looked at him and said, is this not Donald Duke? He said, I am too old to even fight. If a Donald Duke is too old now to fight, he said we should just forget it. That's not what he said several years ago. You know, we must look at it, not just go to court and come back again. Your years are going. Your productive years are going, and things are not working. You know, we cannot keep having this talk back and forth, and then you now send media people to come talk about, you know, with one Nigeria. When we are contesting election, we have a political party. When we now, when something has gone wrong, when we are trying to react, they say it's one Nigeria. We have no other country we are going to. We never said we had. But we need to do the right thing. And this is what, I'm a student of history first, before a lawyer or anything. I have studied classical history and I know what it is. And when you look at the way things are done, if you don't react, you know, you're locking up and people are now feeling like we don't need to fight anymore. And if you see the silence in the country now, it's like a lot of people are not happy, but they're just minding their business. And you see things are not working. And they say, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I'll make both to say because you don't reward someone who has not performed. I have not seen it anywhere. When we were in school, the best students are given award and you're giving accolades, or, you know, shower they comment on you for all you've done. But the guys that fail, they stay at the back, they hide. You know, for you to say somebody have not done well and you award him. So come on, that's a slap.
Okay. Now, Adamawa State was probably not the only state where we had the supplementary election. But,
yes.
It became, you know, a source of, a point of attraction because of what happened and all that. Now, what would you want to say is your major pullouts in Saturday's supplementary election? Let's look at the whole country generally now.
When you say supplementary elections, as it is, it's like a way to, for me, it's like to do the things you didn't do well, to dot the I's and cross the T's.
Yeah.
That's how it is to me, not in the positive sense. It's like I tried to outsmart you when I came into this office and I couldn't pick your pen and paper.
Okay.
Now, when you call it supplementary, then you're asking me, giving me the privilege to come and do the right thing, or rather to perfect what I was planning to do before you go to court. So for me, I don't see it. I don't see the credibility in the process. Yes, I have right to that. I don't see it. I see it as a funny way. I could see it when we were waiting or warming up for the elections. I could see there was fear in the air. There was campaign back and forth. There were government functionaries going everywhere. I could see right in front of my street on Ugbawa here, you know, being tarred overnight. I saw those Lebanese guys fixing the road. I was wondering that what's happening. I asked, and they said they are trying to finish it today because the other day was election.
But that's probably still ongoing in some parts of the state now.
You say what? I don't know. I'm talking about the speed. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know the attitude and the rush the rush to get it done. I could see government folks going everywhere, soliciting votes, please, kneeling, begging, crying, and asking people to come vote for them. And that was good. But the supplementary election wasn't like that. It was like, okay, we're cool, you know, we're good to go now. We're ready. That's the attitude. That's the body language. Because you look at the body language of the people, and you look at the body language of those seeking office. It's like you say, well, don't worry, it's done.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
That attitude is what I'm talking about. So for me, I don't see much of credibility in the supplementary elections. And I think the court will obviously check that if and when if they are not asked to decline from the cases in court.
Okay.
You know, because it's a way also to call you and they say, well, this mandate is not about, it's not a do or die. You can join in the government. How do I join in the government? I want to be at the steering. You say I should come join in the bus.
But provided the vehicle is moving.
It's not, is it moving at the pace I want it to move? That's the question.
All right. My colleague Dominic Yemese and Juliet Dangiwa, they have one or two questions for you. All right. So over to you, Dominic, now.
Nice discussions there from your guest, Barrister Patrick. But there's something is stated in the beginning of your discussion that Aisha, she's free to court, is not fine with the yesterday, you know, earlier, like you mentioned, she accepted the results when it was announced that she won on Saturday by the reg officer. But my question here is that if we are working with the Electoral Act, which says it's the returning officer that should announce the winner of an election. But there is an exclusion, probably for the presidential level. We saw that it was the INEC chairman himself that announced the winner of the presidential election. Now, if you have a reg member who is announcing the results after collation was suspended, how did he manage to get this course? Like you said, he might have seen this course and probably that was what prompted him to have announced her the winner. Now, if we're looking at the Electoral Act and what the reg did, are you saying that she has a case in court, or there's every possibility that the judgment might be in her favor?
Well, it's obvious. You see, there's nothing like a bad case. A case is a case. You could seek redress anyhow. Now, I agree with what you are saying, that the Electoral Act did not make such proviso for the right to make such announcements. That's correct. I didn't decline on that. I said that's very correct. But is it possible that there were some fraudulent activities? Okay, suspension of collation. Agree that there was suspension. What led to the suspension? Do you have such information? You don't. Neither do I. Because whoever is going to court will also get back, oh, I was the, rec here, and this is what happened. What I'm trying to say is that it's not an issue of, well, it's a bad case or there's no case. There's nothing like that in law. You go to court and let the court look at it. I'm not saying she's going to be declared winner or she's going to come back, but it will have deepened democratic rule of system in Nigeria. You know, if Adam Soshomole in time did not go to court, it was like there was nothing was going to happen. And Memeko and all of us, Obi and all of us that didn't go to, if they had not gone to court, would have just been saying 29, May 29, May 29. It would have just been May 29. Whatever happened, just wait. No, that's the incense. So that Electoral Act have said this. You don't know what they have. You don't know the information at their disposal. You don't know what they are coming to court with. And you cannot lie consistently. If you are saying the man they suspended, okay, let's say we suspended when we are getting to 500. And the time you leave suspension, you started from 300. What happened? Somebody have information because it's an election and a lot of persons are involved. So these are the points we are looking at. So the court is going to study through all this, not just what the Electoral Act says. A governor ruled in this country, in the Rotimi Amechi. He didn't win primaries. He won the primaries rather. He was not in the ballot. Celestine Omeya was in the ballot. And Celestine won the election, but the court said Amechi should be governor.
Yeah. Even the one in Imo State.
You understand? So what we are trying to say, the more we go to court, the more we deepen and interpret certain sections of the Electoral Act that may not have been interpreted properly.
Okay.
I think that's my thoughts about it.
Okay. Dominic, you still have one or two questions there?
With him, maybe in the course of the program, we'll ask more questions if time permits.
Okay. All right now. All right now, Barrister. Now we are looking at a situation whereby many cases, many electoral cases are going to go to court.
Yes.
From the supplementary election that we just had on Saturday,
yes.
we are seeing many aggrieved politicians.
Obviously,
now,
so many.
And, they are winding up. I know you guys at the bar are also winding up.
Don't look at the monetary aspect. That's what Nigerians are always talking
Barrister,
about.
let's look at it. What does it mean for our democracy? I mean, this election, the most recent election, and perhaps the very last election that we've had in our democratic journey. Now, what do you think it means to our democracy? After the election, most of the cases going to courts, what does it mean?
It means the process has been marred with a whole lot of irregularity and fraudulent activities. That's the honest truth. That is the honest truth. Things are not done well. You know, you see, if a man goes to the polls and then win, I even comment previous election. I'm honest about this. Because even if you say these guys or whoever is there, he rigged the election, obviously he did some work around, maybe to go and come. You know, we're talking about money politics. They give you money, come and vote. But in situations like this, you just hear results that you don't know how it came about. You hear some 300,000 people voted somewhere, and people are protesting in that same state that we didn't vote. So it's like they've graduated to another level. So it's been very dangerous for democratic rule. That's the honest truth. So if we don't check this, it's going to cause a whole lot of chaos, and that's the honest truth. We need to allow, or we just say we don't want to operate democratic system anymore. If we want democracy, it must be by the people, for the people, and that's how it should be. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's a people-based principle. And it's unfortunate that down this way, we seem not to regard the people. And the people don't seem to, you know, count. Votes should count. If we have 87 million, sorry, yeah, I'm correct.
About now.
You know, and the presidential election that turned out the president is about 8 million. What are we talking about? What happened to others? No, what really happened? So these are things we should be checking. What percentage is now bringing out the president? What happened to the others? So these are things we should be looking at. And then I think, you know, it's Fidel Castro that said to be moral in an immoral society is immoral. So immorality, to a great extent, has taken the whole, you know, lead in all aspects of our political.
Yeah, Barrister, on the flip side, some persons will say that it is probably most democratic now. I mean, for us to let the cases go to court, and for the fact that some of these cases are going to be decided eventually, whether to stay put on how the results were declared or to give it to the other person. Some persons will say that this is most democratic.
Well, court going, it's good. But again, the court will not rule on what they don't have. Somebody committed a crime and you don't have evidence. How do you now convict, or how do you now decide?
Yeah, but don't you think the evidence abounds almost
but there
everywhere
are
now?
times, see, you must understand the way the court works. Now, there are certain evidence you may not be able to communicate, you may not be filed to court.
Why?
Because there's a procedure for it, and maybe that procedure is not the privilege or the opportunity or how to go about it. It's not within the principle, that law of you filing as it were. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is, maybe I need to tender that document now, and I needed to have some time, maybe 5 days, to do that. And before I got it, maybe 4 days had gone. Before we embark on typing, by a function of time, I think was it not Shegun or Kayode Fayemi? I think it was being contested over dual citizenship when then. Now, at the time, the matter was gaining momentum. But before it got to the Supreme Court, it was already statute bar. So how will the Supreme Court now decide on what, by a function of time, it's dead on arrival?
No,
so the point I'm making, sir, is that it's not always just go to court. Let's learn to do what is right. other than waiting, do the wrong thing, and then we run to court. Because there are times, because they themselves that are saying, go to court. They also calculate the rules. Some of them are lawyers. They study a lot too. They also check the rules. That before you file and do all this, even if you are the smartest lawyer of all time, before you go there, certain things will go wrong. These are the honest truths. We are humans, and we don't have the capacity to remember all. A lawyer is filing process, is trying to think and put the laws together. He can't remember everything. You're not a machine. So you make some human error, you make some mistakes. You file, okay, look at the issue of the Senate president. How did it happen? What's the problem? Now that the law is still there. Is it not because of the way the matter was instituted? You allege somebody forged certain things, and you did not arrest him. You can't say I forged a document and then you just leave it as if you wrote me a love letter. The police should be, petition should be evidence, even if it's a big man that cannot be pulled from his office. At least there should be evidence of petition. All those are the nitty-gritty of all this process. But for you to put this piece together, it's always very, very tedious.
Now, there's no doubt that the politicians are going to go to court.
Yes, they will always go to court.
Let us look at INEC. INEC is one body that most times the cases are really not between the politicians and INEC, as it were. It's between the politicians themselves. But somehow INEC will always come forward and maybe concur to a result that they released, or to say, no, they didn't release this result. But there are concerns in some areas now, and perhaps very big worry that INEC seems to be allegedly want to be taken side. What's your say on that?
Well, like I said, I mentioned the issue of morality and your integrity. If you look at INEC now, we say Independent Electoral Commission. How independent are they? That's the question you should ask yourself. Everybody's blaming Professor Mahmoud, you didn't do well, you didn't do well. For crying out loud, he didn't put himself there. I think that's played a major role. And you cannot just wake up and then you say you're resigning. There are certain things he would not want to do. But by being the boss there.
So are you saying for the fact that he didn't put himself there, then he also cannot be that independent to that extent?
I'm trying to tell you the way it is.
No.
Now, what I'm trying to, I know what I'm saying. You could call it, I said how independent.
Yeah, just like what you say about
Yes.
Professor Mahmoud now.
Yes.
For the fact that he did not put himself there.
Yes.
Even if we are trying to make recourse to some certain individuals,
Yes.
Professor Mahmoud emerged by the resolution, by the agreements of the National Assembly. I mean, he went through the screen and all that.
Nobody has said he's not competent or qualified. Who said a professor?
Yeah, well, the question I'm asking,
Yes.
for the fact that he didn't put himself there
Yes.
eventually,
Yes.
so are you trying to say that he may not do he may do the bidding of his masters?
Of course. Yes. Of course. That's the honest truth.
Is that your obvious opinion?
That's my obvious opinion. Because men looking at, you see, if you look at body language, there are times you cannot really, there are things you can't say. We just allow it to go. Just observe people. How do you dictate? How do investigation go out and check? You see. Or you see their body language. Did you do it when we're children? There are ways they try to check up and say, well, I didn't do it. And the one that did it say, I didn't do it, not with so much confidence. When you press further, is the truth going to come? But what I'm trying to say now, he cannot be put in such situation now. Because the system that made him protects him. We had a time in this country when we talked about the CBN governor was funding some folks, and then he was being declared, and the DSS were around him everywhere. The same CBN governor asked the DSS to arrest him. Is it not funny? In the same country. And nobody told us what happened, how they resolved that issue. The petitions were out everywhere. And they said he was receiving treatment in the US and all of that. Then he came home with football and the midst of soldiers everywhere following him everywhere. And the giving directive to the DSS. So you're telling me I to believe that nothing went down. Of course, something went down. That's the truth. There are a lot of things that go on that you don't know. And that is why we cannot absolutely blame, in as much as I will blame him, because if you are not cool with it, you resign and save your name. Yes, and get out of the circle that you feel you can't function. But if you not get involved, Okay, look at the woman in Abia. Will you say a woman like that, she didn't know what she was doing? How she was threatened here and there, and then she said no. Has anybody really done? I know they are saying that you should come and name them. Oh, what kind of talk is that? Is she the one to name them, or the investigating body, the police, the SS, and all these guys should check? And who have been arrested? Why have they not arrested her? To prosecute her for false information? These are questions you should be asking. If you said she didn't say the right thing, then she should be arrested. For false information, you must name them. And everybody is keeping quiet. We are now using other things to cover what. So these are some of the issues we have in this country.
Okay. All right. So the round of elections are over now, except the fact that some states are going to be having elections later on. And next year, Edo State is built for its own governorship election. Yes. Now, let's take our minds back to, the winners one more time. Ahmadu Fintiri has made a statement, a press release, that for him it's going to be a matter of consolidating on the gains achieved and all that. And of course, his government is also going to be inclusive. That's what they tell you anyway. That's the language. But let us look at it now, Barrister. Now, for a government that has a clear mandate, manifesto and all that, now, would you want to subscribe to such a government trying to bring in other personalities from other political parties that probably don't have the same philosophy, the same mindset, and the same, maybe manifesto, if you like, now?
Well, you see, when we keep talking about manifesto, philosophy, and all of that, now, you see, in a system that works, you don't just wake up and say, this is what I actually want to do. Okay, I'm governor, for instance. I want to build roads. I want to build schools. I want to do this. I want to bring... That's not how... That shows nothing is actually being done. For instance, let's take New York, for instance. You say the World Trade Center, for instance, the other time had issues. And then what do? There's a plan. There are people that are not politicians that have settled down to plan how the society will run and how it will be developed over years. Let's say this building now, in another 20 years, will be pulled down, and this it will be. It is already drawn.
Yeah.
So when I'm elected into office, maybe a year before, I study through the master plan of what it is. Not me as a politician. A politician cannot tell you I have vision. What vision do you have in 4 years?
No, you cannot say so.
I know what I'm saying. I know. You could say, well, I have vision, yes, to pull my people out of poverty. What I'm saying is that over the years, we've had 24 years of democratic rule now. After this, you know what I'm talking about. Now, what have been the plans? It's been one story of Evans coming to say, I have a vision. Glory 2020 or Glory 19, whatever, glory, or we are moving on.